Individuals on the line. 2 jump checks. Ready? Count them up. Do.
You're going to go hit, bow, bow, and then you're going to move back to create the distance, and then you can push out.
We are going to have the foremost experts. For those of you who are unfamiliar, I am going to have the foremost experts on the Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein controversy, conspiracy later on today. Brace and Liz from True Anon Podcast, and also Matthew Chrisman from the Chapo Trap House Podcast. These people are leftist royalty / also on top of that, literally the biggest experts on this issue. They've been investigative reporters on the job, nonstop covering it. Hopefully I don't get banned when they come on. Perfect. And approximately after 4:30. Maybe a little later. What? 4:30 Pacific. Pacific. I think Pacific. Well, it has to be Pacific because it's already 7:30 Eastern. Around. Why would you be banned? I don't know. They say crazy stuff. Okay. All right. Let's do it. Why didn't you invite Nick Mullen, the foremost expert investigator on the Epstein case? Because I don't know him like that.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Geneva Solomon is a mother of 3 and firearms instructor in Los Angeles. She teaches self-defense and shooting skills to a group of Black gun enthusiasts and me, a New Yorker who's never touched a gun.
Just saying, how many hours, Einstein, you have international audience? In an hour. In 1 hour. In 1 hour plus around that. Okay, can you remind what's happening at 4:30 Pacific? Just came in, sorry. In exactly an hour, maybe a little bit longer than an hour, I will have the foremost Epstein experts, the foremost authorities on the Epstein issue here to talk about the Jeffrey Epstein case, what we know so far, and new additional information that came out. Yeah. Damn, Stav just hit me up, said, "What's up, broski? You want to do Twitch advice show tomorrow?" Oh, damn. Hold on 1 second. Stavi solves your problems? Yeah, I mean, I'm down to do it. We've waited so long for the return of Chad Vice. Yeah, well.
Oh, shit. Geneva says she didn't grow up around guns, but first turned to firearms for self-defense after leaving a relationship she described as violent.
And so I walked into a gun store, and I'm a Black woman walking into a gun store. I was the only one there. And I think I waited about an hour and a half before someone would come and talk to me. And I didn't like that experience at all.
The memory of that experience prompted Geneva and her husband Jonathan to open Redstone Firearms. But in the 5 years they've been open, they've dealt with some harassment.
We've had swastikas carved into the windows, cars been keyed.
I thought conservatives loved people arming themselves. So odd. So odd that people who absolutely love Americans arming themselves all of a sudden are like, not blacks though. Not black people though, of course not. What are you, brother? What are you, crazy, brother?
Emails have been sent, lots of threatening phone calls.
There's not a lot of Black-owned gun shops in the country. It's pretty rare.
We didn't really realize we were that unique. It wasn't until about a year into operating the actual store that I sat down, got on the computer, and realized, oh my God, we're one of like 5, and we're the only one in California.
Redstone Firearms is registered with the NRA. The organization has a tight grip on the gun industry.
I hate that. I hate that. I'm sure they'll address it, but like any connection to the NRA is immediately like, nope, fuck off. That's terrible.
Offering benefits to business owners like Geneva. Yet Geneva turned to another gun club for a sense of belonging. Its name? The National African American Gun Association, or NAGA. Some call it the NRA for Black people.
2 to the body, 1 to the head.
The Solomons are NAGA state directors for California.
Shooter ready? Shoot!
Dr. Rashid Ivy is one of NAGA's newest members.
I love what NAGA's doing and loved how positive they were, how much they were really devoted to teaching people how to be positive gun owners and changing the stigma in our community.
I will not say that acronym. I just won't say it. Maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the reason why they made that acronym the way it is. But it's an acronym that it's too close. Not doing that. You cannot trick this Yakubian devil into engaging in this kind of trickery.
Of gun ownership.
Are you also a member of the NRA?
No.
Why not?
The stigma associated with them is that it's a racist organization.
Black gun owners and the NRA have had a contentious relationship for generations. In 1967, in response to the Black Panther Party legally and openly carrying loaded guns, the NRA actually supported gun control legislation. Old wounds were reopened in 2016.
Hold on, let's make sure that there's no blood.
When registered gun owner Philando Castile was shot and
There
killed
is
by
blood.
a police officer.
Good thing I avoided that. Okay, there is blood in the upcoming sequences.
Told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
You told him to get his ID, sir, his driver's license.
The officer was later.
So one of the craziest parts about that is that's Geronimo Yanez and Philando Castile. It's Geronimo Yanez executing Philando Castile in broad daylight. He got away with it, by the way. Just he got away with it. He got away with murdering. Philando Castile in broad daylight with Philando's girlfriend sitting in shotgun and Philando's girlfriend's daughter in the back seat. She was, I think, 5 years old, if I'm not mistaken, or 12 years old. Old enough to be completely horrifically traumatized by the situation. The defense that he used, she was 4 years old. Oh, okay. The defense that he used was that Geronimo or Philando smelled like marijuana. That's it. That's what got him off. Enough to establish that Philando Castile was a threat, despite the fact that he was a registered gun owner and was doing everything and following protocol. So she was 5 years old. I still remember her saying, like, "Don't kill my mommy. Don't kill her." And one of the problems here was, I remember Sean Hannity and numerous other political commentators saying, like, "Oh, they were asking for it," or that why is she filming? Why is she not stopping the? Why is she not doing something? This is how mask off and horrifically racist Fox News was even back then. Okay? And it always has been. Why didn't they do, why was she even filming the process? And it is actually an interesting question. And I remember watching that video and thinking to myself, this is such a, one, it's shock, but it's such a routine interaction that your first thought as a black person in that circumstance is to film this so that you can at least get some justice. It didn't even happen. You did not even get any justice in that circumstance. But they did it because they knew that it was a it was something that was the only way that they could even try to attempt to get justice. Sorry, I was looking through to see if there's any more blood in this, but I think, yeah. So always film the cops, don't forget.
Later acquitted of manslaughter. But at the time of Castillo's death, the NRA released a statement saying reports of the incident were troubling. But that response wasn't enough for many Black Americans.
No justice, no peace. Prosecute the police.
Yet the NRA continues to be a political firepower that touts its inclusivity.
We in this room, we all come from every conceivable walk of life. We're proud of that diversity within our ranks.
I got one question to ask. Where are all my nagas at?
Okay, it's deliberate.
Can't hear you. One more time. Where are all my nagas at? All right.
NAGA is nowhere near as large as the NRA, which has over 5 million members, but it wants some of the same influence. NAGA celebrated its 5th anniversary this year and is considering forming a political action committee.
When I first started NAGA, I told my wife I might have 300 people over 2 or 3 years. Within the first month, I had 300 people. And we are now at the place with over 30,000 members. And what makes us different than any other firearms organization is that we are family, brotherhood and sisterhood. We agree to disagree, but we do not disconnect. Repeat it with me. We agree to disagree, but not disconnect. Good people should have a fighting chance to defend themselves, and if they want our assistance in that process, we're here for them. I'd rather have a good guy with a gun than a good guy without a gun.
When you say good guy with a gun, the first thing I think of is Philando Castillo. Are you afraid, being a Black gun owner, that you will do everything you are supposed to do, everything the correct way, but still end up like him?
The worst thing we can do as Black folks, and I'm just gonna keep it 100, is to say, you know what, he got shot, so I'm gonna put my gun away because of one bad person. So as a Black gun owner, we should all say, you know what, I'm really gonna carry my gun. We can't bow down. We're not sub-Americans, we're not sub-citizens. We've earned that right. Our ancestors have died for us.
NAGA is looking at possibly forming a PAC. Why?
I think it is selfish, at a minimum, not to look at other avenues to help our people.
Are you going to be looking to endorse candidates or focus on issues?
We're going to focus on issues. There's some African-American men, specifically in certain parts of the country, that have a very difficult time getting a gun license for whatever reason. They don't have any background issues.
I'm so concerned. I just feel like this is going to be...
They have clean credit. They have a good
it's
job.
going to be yet another way that the gun manufacturers can
we would like to be an
exert
advocate
influence.
for those type of individuals.
Phil is leaving the decision to form a PAC to members. So first off, just show of hands. Who thinks NAGA should form a PAC? Wow, a good chunk of the room. Who thinks you should endorse a candidate? Wow, no one. All right, so are you concerned that if NAGA goes political, some white people are going to be afraid that it's the new Black Panther Party?
I don't care what they think.
Wait, why is that? Wait, that's the concern? I don't think that's the concern. I think the concern for endorsing political candidates, if I read the room immediately, is because half of them are like ADOS, like super fucking Republican Black people, and half of them are liberal and Democratic Black people. That's why I think they don't want to fucking endorse candidates specifically, and instead want to endorse an issue. That's my immediate understanding of what's going on in that room. Not that like Black people having guns is scary for white people. Yeah, of course. Historically, that has always been a fear or whatever, but who gives a fuck? I don't think these people care.
Why have a National African American Gun Association? Why not just join the NRA? Well, this is America, right? We can create any organization that we want. And why shouldn't we create an organization that we're prideful of, an organization that is focused on our community, an organization that is focused on education? Why not? Right? So I really don't care what anyone thinks. It's not about them, it's about us. If we focus on them, that's what they want.
The group will decide on its political future at a convention in August of next year.
Say his name! George Floyd! Say his name! George Floyd! Say his name! George Floyd!
lot has happened since we attended NAGA's meeting.
I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
The continuing threat of coronavirus and the fallout over the recent killings of black men and women have led to a surge in NAGA membership.
Roughly about 55.
Dude, like, the fucking leftists that say, like, everyone in the working class need to fucking arm themselves is so stupid. Like, this is exactly how Chaz or Chop or whatever the fuck you want to call it ended up executing two black teenagers or one black teenager and then putting another in a critical condition. This is why I am a fucking adult and admit that there is a necessity for a well-trained police force, no matter what the fuck you want to call it. Okay? Like, guns in the hands of just like citizens who take law into their own fucking hands is always going to lead to a significant amount of problems. This is at the heart of all of my fucking criticisms with the NRA and with American gun culture. I'm sorry. You call me a fucking lib all you want. It is psychotic to assume. Look, as long as this group is focusing on training, focusing on common sense gun regulation, as long as it's a group that actually focuses on ensuring that there are some bottlenecks to getting a gun rather than doing the opposite and trying to keep it the way it is currently in America, then they are an op, okay? That's the way I see it. You can fantasize about an anarchist revolution or a fucking Marxist-Leninist revolution all you fucking want. But ultimately, it is a legitimate problem. And I'm not even saying that cops are not the issue here. They are. Yeah. Under no pretext. I got it. Yeah, okay. All right, dude. Yeah. Karl Marx. Very cool. Just keep copy and pasting the same fucking take over and over again. Watch me get more liberal as time goes on. Under no pretext, you fucking lib. Yeah. Keep molding fucking LARPers, dude. Holy shit.
500 people
I don't even have a fucking problem with gun ownership. I don't. You know I don't have a problem with gun ownership. You know I think guns are fucking cool. You know this because I've gone to gun ranges and shot fucking guns. Like it's so fucking dumb though to act like what this dude's doing back here with like all of his fucking guns is any different than what like any number of white psychos that have an arsenal just because he's black. You literally are just like, well, this dude is black, so when he has an arsenal, it's different. That's the literal lib tendency that you have. 100%. That's not that many guns, dude. I mean, yeah, I know.
I've joined NAG within the last few months based on what's happening out of society. On one half, people were joining the organization partly because they were fearful of, society breaking down, of shortage of food, of people coming in and raiding and doing home invasions. And on the other hand, now you have black men and women getting shot, police running into their homes, shooting them without any type of warning or cause. Those two things together has really developed a melting pot of anger, of concern. And so in preparation for that, people are saying, you know what? I'm going to go out and buy a gun. I might even be anti-gun, but I'm going to go ahead and buy a gun because I just don't know what's going to happen.
Is Chad not filled with homeless at this point that went to get food and put their tents wherever away from police? Wouldn't be surprised if that was the accompanying problems with drugs and violence. Oh. What's happening inside of Chaz? It's gone. Chaz is yeeted. They got broken up. HasanAbi is against the Second Amendment, but has a moderator called Right to Bear Arms Law. How curious. Like, I think the Second Amendment is fucking disgusting, okay? I think the American interpretation of the Second Amendment is incredibly damaging. It's really fucked up. Having said that, any group that advocates for responsible gun ownership is fine. The NRA is not that. As long as you, and when you try to turn yourself into a fucking super PAC, by definition, you're turning into a group that is going to advocate for gun ownership. You're going to advocate for less regulation, no matter what the fuck happens. You're not a lib. Lefties in the EU like me hate guns too. Yeah, Americans have like this psychotic relationship with fucking weapons, where they think like they're gonna solve all of their fucking problems with a gun ultimately. Second Amendment is great and the NRA does a shitty job of advocating for it. No, the Second Amendment is not fucking great. The Second Amendment's constitutional interpretation, the way that you understand it, is totally new. It's like a contemporary retconning of the Second Amendment, just like the NRA originally is a fucking hunting club, or originally started for those New York sissies to learn how to fucking shoot a gun. Literally created by a New York Times reporter, so that they could handle weapons, and recently freed slaves could handle fucking weapons and know how to shoot guns. And then it turned into a hunting club, and then it turned into a fucking gun rights organization that is psychotic. Bro, you guys are the biggest military in the world. If your government turns on you, no one else is coming to help. Yeah, if the fucking biggest military in the world turns on us, we are not gonna fucking do shit either. Like, the gun ownership is not gonna fucking work either in that circumstance. Also, here is the other problem. What the fuck happened when Donald Trump said, hey, we're moving the National Guard in? What the fuck happened when Donald Trump said, hey, we're moving the military in if necessary? What happened? All those motherfuckers with guns were literally like, oh, hell yeah, brother. Thank you. Please put that boot further down my ass, sir. Please shove it further down my throat, sir. All of those fucking Second Amendment LARPers turned around and acted like this was great. So when fascism comes into the country, like, gun ownership in that circumstance is not going to work no matter what the fuck you say. We're done. We're done. Like, it's a rip. So try to fucking avoid that by any means necessary, the best way you possibly can. The most effective way you can do that is through, whether you like to admit it or not, engaging in the electoral process. Just like how there wasn't an abortion debate until the late 50s and early 60s, it was politicized. Yeah. What's the number? Isn't it like 17% of, or no, it's like, what is the super owners number? There's like a crazy number about gun ownership in this country where it's like, where it's like fucking 2% of gun owners own like 90% of the guns. Like, they're power owners. Like some crazy disparity. And let me tell you something, brother. Those 2%, yeah, the gun numbers, just 3% of American adults own a collective 133 million firearms. Owning more than 40 guns is actually fairly common in the United States. You're going to sit here and tell me that's good? That's for fucking home protection? You're going to tell me that's reasonable? Those motherfuckers are not actually the ones on your side. And they're 100% totally excited for a fascist takeover. %3 of gun owners own half the guns in this country. Less than half, like 40% of the guns. Just like, it's funny because like capitalism ruins everything and bastardizes everything and turns everything into a commodity that you associate with your identity, and gun ownership is no different. A lot of these people who claim that they are doing this for overthrowing a tyrannical government purposes are unironically doing it without realizing that, unironically engaging in the same kind of fucking weirdo shit that these gun nuts on the right engage in. It's great. It's great. All of it benefits the gun manufacturer.